07.
Okay, we're on record following a request for emergency removal that was granted by this jurist yesterday afternoon. The mother of the child in this case has unfortunately passed away. There is Mr. Everett has joined us today. He is the putative father. We're awaiting DNA testing, but there were some concerns arising to the level that the court issued a removal order from Mr. Everett yesterday. So today's the prelim set on that piece, and although Mr. Everett is not officially our legal or father at this point in time, we're still going to follow our procedures on preliminary hearings as it relates to the child. So may I have the names of our participants, please?
Carson Howard, lawyer, guardian ad litem.
Ms. Saja Thomas, counsel for the department.
Chelsea Pelham, CPS.
Michael McFarland, I'm from the Public Defender's Office. I'm here if and when Mr. Everett is determined to be a legal father.
Thank you. All right. Mr. Howard, essentially, I don't have an attorney appointed for the child specifically, but were you able to investigate the case?
Yeah. I was able to read the petition this morning.
Okay, based on that information, did you agree that the removal should stand, or is there any additional testimony you'd like to hear today on that point?
No, I agree that the removal should stand.
Mr. McFarland, I understand that your client is not officially a legal father as of yet, so I would hate to put you through all of the normal procedures that we use in the prelim. Do you have any requests specifically, understanding the circumstances?
Well, Your Honor, since I'm not officially his attorney, I do have a question regarding Native American heritage. I think that's important for me to ask if I could.
Certainly, although we don't have any, at this point, it's preliminary to even ask that question of Mr. Evers, considering
No, but he may, I'm sorry, Your Honor.
That's okay. It may or may not matter if he has Native American heritage, because we don't know if he's the father yet.
I was going to say Native heritage regarding the deceased mother.
I would hope that Ms. Pelham has that information. Deputy Angela, could you swear in?
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. Okay, Ms. Pelham, is all of the information contained in your petition truthful, accurate, and complete to the best of your knowledge and information?
Yes, Your Honor.
Does that include confirmation that the mother of the child has passed away?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there a death certificate
Yes, there should be one attached.
attached? That's very good. Okay, and then as it relates to potentially Native American heritage, were you able to investigate that with any members of her family?
Yes, for mother.
And what were your findings?
There's none of it.
Okay, very well. Do you know if Mr. Everett is concerned how the copy of the petition is last time?
I do. Yes, it was last night.
All right, and did you do that, or was that someone else?
I'm on call.
Okay. And Ms. Thomas, is really your witness? Do you have anyone you wanted to go through with her and
Your Honor, at this time, I just want to be mindful of the court time. I believe that it's fairly straightforward. And this child is not legally parents this time. You are asking the court to determine the child's a dependent, and for the child to place a department being further investigation on the individual father matter.
anything for the record of you, Mr. Charles?
One question, worker.
Very good.
You had asked mother of Native heritage. You had asked if she was a member of tribe, or you had asked if she had any Indian blood in her family line.
I typically ask if you have any Native American heritage or part of our tribe.
Ms. Pelham, are you going to continue to investigate Mr. Evans as potential places for this child?
Yes.
Very good. And what would that involve?
Especially find an appropriate home, working with officers doing DNA testing and providing services if he wants them.
Very good. And have you determined if the child needs any additional support or services?
At this time, I did make a referral early on. I think that would be a really beneficial thing for him.
And what about the placement? I know that was a friend of the mother's, is that right? Okay. Have you verified if she needs any additional support?
Yes, I have.
Right, Mr. Howard, do you have any questions for us?
No, Your Honor.
Any questions based on my questions, Mr. McFarland?
Thank you.
Ms. Thomas?
Your Honor, just based on the placement issue, I just want to clarify for the record. I know this is a petition, but Ms. Mullum, as it relates to placement, obviously priority is given to family. Were there other efforts made to determine whether there would be a family available to take placement of this child?
Yes, contact was made with my maternal grandmother and young client being able to take placement and address placement in Anderson, Oregon.
Okay, and do you believe that Anderson, Oregon is agreeable or would be willing to facilitate any relationships with extended family members of this child?
Absolutely, she would be happy to.
Okay. And just to confirm, Ms. Anderson Morgan, her home, has that been evaluated at this time?
It has.
And is it appropriate for the child?
It is.
Okay. And then also background checks, just wanting to double check on that. Were there any concerns with any background checks?
Ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. I have no further questions, Your Honor.
All right, well, you've raised a couple for me. Ms. Bell, I know as far as the petition goes, as far as Mr. Everett's placement, there's some criminal history here, and CPS history, issues with housing, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And, were you able to determine if he has any employment at this time?
As far as I know, he does not. I have been told he's kind of like a reseller, he buys things and then he sells it.
And his housing is what at the moment?
He lives a daydream in. I don't know whether that will be an option.
And I know that there was a CPS case with the termination of rights, which was rather old, but have you had a chance to determine what those reasons were for termination?
I know that it's just maltreatment. I don't know anything in depth, but it was physical abuse and proper supervision.
All right, have you had a chance to investigate whether or not his minister services for any of those issues at that time?
Lately, because it is so old and it didn't happen in Lenawee County, we don't have full records and we don't have contact. But he stated that he would provide services and he didn't do them, which is why his rights were terminated.
There are some substantive criminal things that have accumulated over 2018, 19, and 2022 as well, right?
That's right.
All right, any questions based on my questions?
My understanding is the placement was with a fake family, somebody who's very close, is that correct?
That's correct.
My understanding is the child was living with Mr. Everett and the deceased mother for some time, correct? Or am I incorrect? Is that incorrect?
That is incorrect. As far as I know, he did not reside with his deceased mother. His mother resided with his kid.
Oh, okay. This is any relationship to bond with Mr. Everett?
I imagine yes, as he's been with him this testimony, when I know all the others like he had some sporadic visits.
Maybe it's possible for Ken himself. What are your thoughts about visitation for him if no so wishes?
I think visitations would be appropriate.
How would you go about doing that? Contacting you?
You can contact me, this will be transferred to Fostering Solutions, but if you contact me, I can get the contact information.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Ms. Thomas?
I have no further questions.
All right, very well. Well, I can adjourn the prelim for 48 days, understand that we're about to have the DNA test results back. On the other hand, he's not been indicated as a respondent this time, obviously, potentially because he doesn't have those rights. And so our duty is to simply put the case, preliminary hearing as it relates to our child, and then make it to the department sideline whether or not to either place with Mr. Everett's case, determine to be the legal father of the child, or file an amended petition indicating as a respondent. What is your preference, Ms. Thomas?
I anticipated conclusion of today's hearing that upon determination of paternity, if necessary, we would have to file an amended petition or supplemental depending on timelines there. But yeah, that was my intention, was to file another petition if necessary.
Mr. Nofro?
For the record, I did contact the prosecutor's office for type of cases, court cases that you need. So it should have been today or tomorrow, but just it'll be about a week away. So I think 14 days would be appropriate. So they are running substantially behind, so that's kind of optimistic.
Mr. Howell?
No, not really, Your Honor.
Well, I will trust the department and just will continue to be vigilant on the point of determining whether or not Mr. Everett is the biological and therefore the legal father of the child. And to bring that to the court's attention regardless of my decision on procedures today. I will conclude the preliminary hearing as fast as we're able to with the information that we have confirming the removal and the continued placement of the child with his victim as he is familiar with pending further results. And look forward for an update from Ms. Helen on all of the issues that are brought up today at our next juncture. So the flip set a trial in the case. I have the morning of Tuesday, February 18th. At 9 o'clock. Good.
That works for me, Madam. Thank you.
Very good. All right, so we'll see you on the 18th for a trial. In the meantime, we'll leave Ms. Helen and Foster Solutions to handle any requests from Mr. Everett for visitation, services, continued services in support of the child and the placement, and monitoring of that DNA test results. Unless there's any questions, that's all. Record today for a putative father hearing and a pretrial in the matter of the Ledbetter case. May I have the names of our participants, please?
Carson Howard, lawyer, guardian ad litem.
Nastasia Thomas, counsel for the department. Ms. Pelham?
Sophie Powell with CPS.
Michael McFarland representing father, Mr. Everett, please introduce yourself.
Daniel Everett's father.
Very good. All right, attorneys, could you all confirm that you received a copy of the DNA testing in this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
Your Honor, I'm not sure if I received the copy of the DNA testing, but I did receive a copy of the order in the paternity matter establishing Mr. Everett as the biological father.
Very good. There should have been a copy of that DNA testing attached, but
Attached.
if you
I'll double
need it,
check.
make sure you get that as well.
Thank you.
So essentially, the first order of business is determining whether or not Mr. Ledbetter will be subject to an amended petition or how the department intends to proceed, Ms. Thomas, if you know.
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. We did begin to amend that petition. I have not filed it yet, given that I was not sure procedurally if his paternity was established in this case as well. And so I did not want to file a petition, put the cart before the horse, so to speak. So it is our intention to file a petition naming him as a respondent, given some of the concerns that we had at the onset of this case when it was brought to CPS attention. But otherwise, that should be coming within the next day or two.
Okay, so for purposes of today's hearing, what does the department hope to accomplish?
At this time, we would just ask the court to set a final pretrial, giving us enough time for Mr. Everett and Mr. McFarland to communicate and see if we have any other issues that we need to iron out at another pretrial, and then also setting a trial date for this case.
Mr. McFarland?
Well, if the only amendment is going to be that he is the biological father, we would stipulate to that through the DNA testing, and there are allegations against him here that we're prepared to admit for the court to take jurisdiction, Your Honor. Reunification, we don't wish to have any additional delays on this. So the request sought in this initial petition was jurisdiction. If that's still the case, we are prepared to, unless there's going to be new allegations made. So that's our position. And there is Native American heritage, at least 3 tribes that needs to be explored on my client's behalf. You want to bring that to the court's attention.
I do have what appears to be some Native American heritage search documents that were provided to the clerk's office on February 13th, 2025. Ms. Thomas, did you wish to address that briefly?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Pelham filed those with the clerk. There are several, it's one of those cases where we have several tribes that were notified. I believe it would be helpful if we had a chart and so we could kind of go through that. But I believe that Ms. Pelham can answer any questions about what was sent out to who and when, and if anything else has been received. I will note that I also received an email from one of the tribes on Friday that denied any eligibility for membership. And I will pass it along to the court as well.
All right, Mr. McFarland, did you receive these search documents?
I do, but what I received are not the green slips, as we would call them, signature sheets by the tribe. I don't see that attached, Your Honor.
Right, I have the inquiry itself, it looks like, as well as copies indicating that a number of tribes were served and that it appears they're still waiting to receive the green cards and or potentially letters in response.
What I'll be looking at, just to let the court know, as I did last week, I'll be looking to see that the person who signed is actually the agent listed under ICWA who is to sign for these letters.
Right, would you provide Ms. Pelham, unless you have a copy already of the list of designated recipients for the tribes?
I provided that to the attorney for the agency, Your Honor.
I don't have it personally,
Okay.
but Ms. Thomas has told me she can give it to me.
Okay, all right, well, thank you, Ms. Thomas. All right, so we'll look for some updates on that point then at a later time. Mr. Howitt, what are your thoughts on the request to stipulate to making Mr. McFarland's client a respondent and entering a plea?
I'd be agreeable to that, Your Honor.
And any thoughts on the Native American heritage issue?
It sounds like the agency and attorney for the father, putative father, are working that out. I did not receive any copies of the Native American heritage inquiry. I don't know if you could just email that to me after this, but.
Okay, yeah, I don't think there was a proof of service on this actually.
Okay.
So I couldn't, yeah. Okay, well, I think we would need an official amendment, and we can look for that from you, Ms. Thomas, in the next few days as far as Mr. Edwards is concerned, but I'm not sure that would hold up your client's opportunity to engage in services, Mr. McFarland, if he so chooses. Ms. Thomas, what is the department's position on that? You know?
Your Honor, I know that this is being handled through Fostering Solutions. Ms. Madrid is logged in right now. I don't think that there would be any delay in them working together to establish a case service plan and get some services started at all. And so I can ask her to make sure she does that.
Would you like us to pursue that inquiry, Mr. McFarland?
That'd be fine, Your Honor.
Stephanie, did you swear in Ms. Madrid for us, please? She's joining us by Zoom, but she doesn't have her camera on.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Madrid, can you raise your hand, please? Let me know it's raised.
Yes, it's raised.
Thank you. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Ms. Madrid, as it relates to Mr. Everts and getting any services started, have you been able to talk with him yet?
We did have a brief FTM prior to one of his parenting time visits, where I did make sure that he knew everything was voluntary, but we did briefly go over what will be a proposed case service plan. So he is understanding of what we will be asking from him. And I do believe he has already started parenting classes through Care Pregnancy of Lenawee.
Wonderful. And will the fact that we do not have official jurisdiction over him at this point in time prevent any referrals from being made or services getting started?
Nope. I was able to give him or point him in the right direction of where we're going to be getting started, letting him know he'll have to do a psychological, and discussed all of bullet points on his case service plan that is proposed. And he's already gotten started on some of those fatherhood parenting classes.
Wonderful. Thank you. I have no further questions of Ms. Madrid, Your Honor.
Mr. McFarland?
Nope, I'm satisfied, Your Honor.
Very well. Any questions, Mr. Howitt?
No, Your Honor.
All right, I have, if we're looking at dates, Monday, March 10th at 10:30.
I'm officially withdrawing my objection to not proceeding today, Your Honor. We have no problem with amending as long as I've heard this testimony.
Very good. All right, so I'd like to look at Monday, March 10th at 10:30. Or just, we'll just continue today's pretrial until then. To allow the department to make those amendments and to continue to provide those services for Mr. Everett in the meantime.
At what time, Your Honor?
10:30? Okay, as far as continued removal goes, Ms. Thomas, presentation on that point?
Your Honor, if I may ask Mr. McFarland if he's objecting to the continued removal. This is, Your Honor, just admittedly, this is procedurally where, in my opinion, it's a little gray. Because we didn't have a legal parent to remove from, we are still asking the court to maintain the child in foster care with the relative fictive kin placement. So I'm not sure how the court would like me to address that, especially that Mr. Everett's today, in this case, just became legal father.
We are okay keeping the fictive kin placement and the visitation.
All right, very well. Your thoughts on that, Mr. Howard?
Yeah, I think it's definitely in the child's best interest to remain with foster care, victim kid placement.
Well, thank you. Did you wish to articulate about a visit that you may have had with the child today, Mr. Howard?
Yes, Your Honor. So I met with the child in his home on February 2025. The child was very happy and playful. He exhibited many developmental milestones, such as pausing when hearing no and walking backwards. And I watched him roll around on a toy car for most of my visit, which was very impressive. And whenever he would fall, he would look for comfort from his caregiver and placement, which I think showed a bond. The child, he has a big playroom in his house with lots of toys, and he's eventually going to have his own bedroom. The house is appropriate. When it warms up, he'll have a lot of room to run outside. And the child has only lived in this home too, so it's really all he knows, other than that brief period with Mr. Everett's. The placement cares deeply about the child, and I have no concerns with her, and I definitely think it's in his best interest to remain there. I was unable to make a determination of what he wants to do at his age.
Okay. All right, anything else for the record today, Ms. Thomas?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. McFarland, anything else for the record today?
No, thank you.
Mr. Howard?
No, Your Honor.
Very well, thank you. The court finds all interested parties will give a notice for purposes of today's pretrial. The order will reflect the determination and finding that Mr. Daniel Everett is the legal and biological child, the father of this child. We'll look forward to the agency continuing to provide referrals for Mr. Everett and visitation so that he can work on his skill sets as well as his bond with his child. And unless there's any questions, that's all for today. We'll see you on the 10th of March at 10:30.
We're off the record. Can we verify the court has